Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Orell, and I have been thinking today about all of my students getting ready to start this semester. And I wanted to just offer some ways of thinking about how to proceed in any project that we decide to undergo. And those projects can be small or large. So it can be cleaning your house versus writing a big paper versus completing a phone call, an interview, whatever. Anything in your imagination that's a task that you have to do to achieve, to finish. What I want to focus on is how to engage oneself in that experience in two different ways. One is to think about how to make it perfect, and another is to think about how to experience it as a whole, or to make it whole. Maybe you could think about it that way. I have worked with a lot of people that are perfectionists. I am not a perfectionist, and the qualities that I would say that I possess that are different than a perfectionist have to do with I put my all into the projects that I do if I really care about them. The things that I care a little less about, I might let go a little bit. And sometimes I get annoyed at myself because maybe I should put a little bit into those things that I care a little less about. For instance, like cleaning my house. But as a whole, and thinking about it in the framework of wholeness, it really is going to depend on where my energy needs to go the most and what I value or cultivate the most. And I look at everything that I do as a way to contribute to my own personal growth. What I see perfectionists often do is get so attached to quality, and not even of their own estimation quality, but quality based on what someone else is going to think, right? So if we use the metaphor of the house, someone's walking in and they're going to create some kind of judgment based on how clean it looks. On some level, I do care about that, and so I'm going to make sure my house is presentable. But on another level, there's always something that someone else isn't going to like. There is something in this video half the people watching it won't like. When things happen, any kind of social media, you can see the bifurcations of people not liking it or liking it. So if we get attached to producing things that we perceive are perfect and base that on somebody else's opinion, then we're not going to experience the experience as whole in any way. I'm sorry to use experience twice, but that's exactly what I mean. We are not going to experience our experiences as whole. They're going to be based on things that we cannot control. And that is crazy making. So entering into trying to make anything we do perfect is actually entering into some kind of craziness. There are standards, of course. And so I think if we sit back and reflect on our own production, on our own assignments, if you're getting ready to start school, you know pretty well, I put a lot of work into this. This is a good job. I put in 70% on this. I could have done more, but I didn't have time. I didn't want to put the energy there, whatever it is. That allows us to let it go, not look at any given production as a statement of self, and to know we're making the decisions we need to make for our own life to go ahead and proceed onward. That to me contributes to wholeness. It also contributes to a sense of integrity because we're admitting to ourselves where and when we can do what and how much. And by just trying to make everything perfect, it's a way of almost entrapping ourselves into a system or the perception of a system that we have to function in for someone else's approval. That's probably not the case for all perfectionists because a lot of it might be internally motivated, like fear of throwing things out into the universe because it's not perfect enough. But again, I think that's a trap because there is no possibility for anything to be perfect according to everyone. Absolutely impossible. And so it's a little bit of a rat in a cage kind of thing where it's circular and continuing to feed off of itself. Because again, I can't produce anything perfect insofar that everybody watching is going to really agree. How do we think about wholeness in that framework in relationship to not being perfect? That's a little tricky, I think. Perhaps it can be most well linked to the word satisfied. If I contribute the energy that I have allotted to any given project to the best of my ability, there will, as a result, come a satisfaction. That's enough for me. Someone is going to critique it. Someone else may love it. Now, it might be a fail if it's like a business idea. Then I have to readjust myself, look at what was the fail, make some changes, and move on. But that's not a statement of self. And even that experience gives me some information in order to create more integrity or more wholeness in my own life, right? because I'm building, I'm growing, I'm learning. And that's all important. So I think another thing that perfectionism kind of traps us from experiencing has to do with growth and flourishing. And if that remains any kind of value, then I think we have to think real closely about being perfect. On a real practical level, because I'm sort of talking in abstracts, on a real practical level, if we keep trying to make things look or be perfect, we slow ourselves down and we allow fear, anxiety, and other people's judgments of us to really rule the way that we function in the world. And that is not the way I would want you all to live. What I would hope for you is that there is some risks, there is really good contribution towards any given project, maybe some conscious decision making about what deserves more energy when. Maybe that's strategic, but to send in a project or to do something and feel like you've given it the best that you can at any given time of your life, that will contribute to your sense of wholeness. And that is what I wish for you. Thanks.